So the art of pitching to investors is actually not to pitch into investors. Hear me out. I have raised £3 million from investors over the last 3 years, and I never actually pitched to an investor. Actually, tell a lie. I did pitch to an investor and actually worked out that this was not going to work long term. It's not going to be a scalable route for me to be able to go out there and raise millions and millions of pounds. And just what I mean by this is I wanted to raise money to buy deals. I had no money, and I was like, hey, I want to go out there and access money because I need money to buy a property, right? So I'm like, okay, cool. How can I get started with property if I have no money? So I learned, worst case, I need to have some sort of value to be able to provide to someone that has money. And what I mean by this is I need to have the knowledge of how to go about taking that money, putting it into property, and making some more money with it. So I went and used my hard-earned money. So the money I used to work for my corporate days, I used that money to invest into myself to get educated, so I became valuable. So I acquired a skill of how to, one, invest in property. What I mean by this is like how to find great deals, how to qualify the area that I'm buying, how to put a team together to help me build my portfolio so I'm not creating another job, i.e. doing all the work myself. So again, professionals like brokers, solicitors, build teams, structural engineers, architects, the whole end-to-end management team, like the whole team, right? And really have an A-class team that I can go to and say, you know what, this is the vision, this is the plan, and they're going to help me execute on this plan. And so that's what I did. So when I went to investors and I was looking to raise money, one thing I realized very quickly was if I went into investing meetings like, hey, I've got this amazing opportunity, I need 500 grand or I need 200 grand, whatever the number is, it's like, it's all about me, what I need. And very quickly realized that approach is like, it's self-centered, like it's like, it has nothing to do with the investor. You can get, obviously in the proposal, you can talk about what's in it for them, but I'm leading with me, what I want. When actually the conversation is more about what they need help with. And this is where it clicked for me, and I was like, oh, damn, like I'm getting into these meetings, and I'm just coming to this meeting heavy, high, straight to the deal. This is the deal, this is the numbers, and trying to convince them of a deal to put money into. And I think it's come from the background of like the businesses that are out there where people go out there and have an idea and raise money, like start businesses basically, where they go out and raise money. And they go to a room full of investors and they pitch people. But I think property is quite different in the sense, again, at least for myself, I can speak, and I know other people have done this, right? And I've taught people how to do this as well, so I know it definitely works. That's one perspective, that's one way of doing things, which is to go out there and try and pitch the room and hope someone says yes. But I've never liked hope as just an idea. I just hope that this works. I'm very like tactical, and I'm very like, I want to do something that I know has a higher conversion rate than do something that has a low conversion rate. So I'm not saying pitching doesn't work. It does definitely work, but has a very low conversion rate because you're not, if you can imagine, you go to a room full of people, 100 people in the room, you're standing in front of the room, you're speaking to every single person about this opportunity, and this is the numbers, blah, blah, and just hoping someone says yes. You might get one person in the room that says yes to you. But I would rather speak to 10 people and get through each person, have an individual conversation with each person, get to know them, get to know their financial situation, have they invested before, what kind of returns have they looked to receive from investments, what excites them when they invest, like what type of deals do they like to get involved when they invest in, just so I can position my offer in a much better way. And this is how I flipped on this head. I'm like, I'm not just going to go to a room and just pitch blindly when I don't know anybody's expectation, because people in the room could be like, hey, I want to double my money, so I put 100 grand in the deal, I want to at least see 200 grand. Someone in the room might be like, oh, if I put 100 grand in there, I need to at least see 25K on top of that 100 grand. So these are all different types of returns. And it's like, they're just shooting blindly, and the answer could have been straight up no, just because of the past history and what kind of returns they've seen in the past. It's like, for me, it's not a great way to go out there and try and raise money. Like, you're just shooting, like, just think about it. You're not even like, it's just a hopeful strategy. It's like a scattergun approach, like just, oh, hopefully something sticks to the wall. It doesn't make sense. That's a lot of energy burn and a lot of time just trying to go, and you might even just get discouraged, like, oh, there's no money out there. You might start getting to negative mindset, oh, nobody wants to borrow money. Nobody's got money out there. I'm like, mate, there's enough data that shows us there's more money than there is anything on planet Earth. So there's definitely money out there. You just don't know how to attract that money. You just don't know how to position yourself correctly to get people to say yes to you. And so for me, I quickly realized, yeah, I want to just speak to people and actually get to know them a bit more before I even discuss the opportunity. Because I'm like, not every person that I speak to fits this opportunity. So if I speak to them like, hey, just give me a bit of background, like, what is it that you kind of do? Like, what do you want to do with your money? How have you grown your money in the past? What kind of investments have you been involved in the past? Have you ever invested before? What level of investments have you invested at before? If I can't understand these little things about you, me just going out there and saying, hey, I need 100 grand. What if the person I'm speaking to has only ever invested 10 grand? Or has never even invested before, is not even interested in investing? I'm just wasting my time. So for me, it's like I want to lead with the fact find of like what the person's experience has been, what excites them, what do they like investing into, have they invested before, and at what level, and what returns have they received in the past. And if I can get a gauge of what their returns are and what they're kind of expecting, I now know whether I even bother present the opportunity to them or not present the opportunity to them. Because they're saying, hey, I want a 2x, 3x my money. And I'm like, hey, look, this is obviously, I know in my mind the opportunity I'm about to offer isn't anywhere near that. There is no point. It's like, hey, just based on what you told me, I don't think it's going to work for you. Because obviously, I obviously offer this type of return to investors, and this isn't something that clearly seems like you're involved in or even interested in the slightest. So unfortunately, this is an opportunity maybe it's going to be a great fit. So maybe in the future, if I find something that fits you, I can come back to you and speak to that point. But that eliminates the whole point of just going into the intricacies of the deal and talking about the deal and has no relevance. And again, another thing I realized with the deal thing, all my investors never invested based on the deal. My investors that invested in me never even saw the deal. They did, and this is from the beginning. I never sat down on the table and said, hey, I have a deal I'm buying for 250K. I'm going to spend 100 grand on the refurb. I'm going to value it for 450. I never did that. That was never part of the conversation. It was always about them. I led with them. What do they want? How much they got to invest? What they're looking to invest into? Like what returns do they have? Like that was the leading message I had going to them. So I've never pitched an investor. I've only just listened to them, gone into the conversation, listened to what their wants and needs are, and devised an opportunity that I know would help fix that needs and desires that they want. And for me, that's a much better way of having the conversation. Because I'm like, yeah, this person's listened to what I had to say, and has actually said, you know what, based on everything you've said, I now propose this. Just think of this as well, right? This is another analogy, right? You might have never come across this, but like financial advisors. Why are financial advisors so great at finding investors who then give them money and they then help them invest that money? Because the financial advisor goes into the meeting with a fact-finding mindset. They go into the meetings to explore the opportunity with the person. Before they present the opportunity, they need to know a bit more about them. What's their risk appetite? What kind of investments they make? Literally, what I've just described is what they do. So when you're raising money from your network, your individual network, whatever, your close, your friends, with family, work colleagues, whatever it is, that is their approach. You've got to lead with fact-finding. Financial advisors raise a lot of money. They go out and get people to trust them with their money. They might come from a company, maybe might argue, oh, someone's come from a company and they can go out. But still, the person's going to go out and convince this person that this is the right thing to do. And they can only do that if they understand the person's appetite and what the situation is. Because if they don't understand, then they try and lead with just pitching, oh, this is the best product. You don't even know what excites them. So I hope you can kind of take a little leaf out of my book, which is to lead with them and not about your deal and how much money you need and what you're trying to do. It has nothing to do, like obviously it does, indirectly has something to do with you. But more time, just by going out there and just pitching a deal isn't going to do the trick. An investor is more looking about you as an individual. Who are you as a business owner, as an operator? Are you someone that's got a great team? Do you have got leadership skills? Are you someone that can solve problems? Because ultimately, giving you money is the easy bit. Making sure the money comes back is an assessment of your ability to be able to manage money and more importantly, overcome problems. Because problems will arise in business. All business owners, people that have money, understand this. If someone's going to go into business, they just expect some level of problem or some level of issues to happen. And they want to make sure that they're betting on the right horse, i.e. the person who's on the job dealing with everything, who they're giving their money to, knows how to overcome this, has a team to be able to help them figure out when things go wrong. That is what they're investing into, you as an individual. Another big leverage for me when I was going in to raise money is I developed a personal brand. And I teach a lot of my students this. You've got to build a personal brand. If you want to expand past your network, especially if you haven't got a network, you're like, oh, my network is broke, I don't have no money in my network. More and more reason why you got to build a personal brand. Because you're going to attract new people who just like your character, like your energy, like who you are as an individual. The reason why a lot of investors invest in me, they just liked who I was. They invested in Alfred as an individual because they saw who he was, how transparent he was, the work ethic he had in himself, the amount of money he invested into himself, more importantly as well, because it just showed out, well, this guy is all in on himself. He's not just talking the talk. He's not just saying, I want to build a portfolio. He's actually spending tens of thousands of money into his personal development, getting around the right people to make sure that what he's about to embark on actually fruitions into something. And this is why I was able to raise £3 million. It's honestly the one thing that helped me grow massively, because again, my network wasn't the biggest and it wasn't the most richest of networks. But by me documenting my journey, showing who I was as an individual, being authentically me, and standing for something, what I believe in. And again, I've got strong beliefs, right? If you've watched me long enough, I am very like I'm on one side of the fence. I'm not this guy who's gonna be like, oh, this is this. No, I'm like this. There is no on the fence with. I can pick a side. And again, people might not liking, like, again, people just like, for me, a lot of people like my directness and just straight to the point. I'm not here to give you waffle and tell you this. It's this. Do this. And that's just, again, an attribute that my investors loved about me. So just be you. And more importantly, showcase that to the world. And don't be shy to put yourself out there. Yes, you're going to be judged. Yes, we're going to have an opinion of you, but it doesn't matter. The only opinion that should matter is about the opinion of yourself and what you think of yourself. Because you can't please everyone. Someone said to me, like, best thing they can say is like, hey, Alfred, why are you trying to please everyone? You're not oxygen. You're not meant for everyone. So why would you, you're not, like, do you know what I mean? You're not oxygen, so how can you expect everyone to, like you or whatever? And that clicked in my head, like, yeah, I'm not oxygen. So how can I be meant for everyone? I'm not supposed to be meant for, I'm meant for the people that are meant for me. And so just be you, and you'll be surprised what attracts you. But I guess the message here is, if you're speaking to investors, lead it by understanding more about them, like a financial advisor would when going to try and get someone to invest into whatever they've got going on. Once you've understood their needs and wants, now you can devise your opportunities. So for example, before I even wrap this up, let's put some context to this, right? Let's say you were going into that meeting with offering a 10% return, we're trying to raise 100 grand. That person you're speaking to is like, hey, actually, I've invested in the past 100 grand into things. I've normally seen about 4 or 5% return on my money on that. And that's usually kind of the returns I kind of see. So now you know, based on what they just told you, one, they're willing to invest 100 grand because they've done it before. Two, they're willing to invest 100 grand at 4 or 5% because that's what they've seen before. So you now want to entice them to say yes to you, you've got to be at a value position of that amount. So first of all, 100 grand, that's fine, they've got 100 grand. Two, you can now maybe put a few percent above what they're currently seeing, which is 5%. So let's say we want to go as high as 8% or even as high as 7%. Again, if you go all the way to 10, you might scare them to think, oh, where does 10%, is this risky? Am I risking money by giving this person my money and trying to get 10% return? So I'll just stay where I am. So you don't want to jump too high. So you offer the opportunity at a 7% return and see if that's something they gravitate towards, and say, you know what, actually that makes sense. I can see why this might be an opportunity where I want to put some of my money. And then when I put 100 grand to start with, I might put 50K or 20K to start with, just to see how things go. And then once they see how things are performed, they now come up with the bigger number and feel more confident going with yourself. And it just sometimes starts small. You might see someone start 20 grand review, and I'm always like, whatever number they start with you in terms of investment, trust me, they've got 10x that number. I've had people start with 20 grand and giving me 200 grand once they've seen that stuff works. So don't dismiss the small guys who maybe want to just test the water. Because I'm just testing the water with you just to see how things work with yourself. But yeah, back to the point of like the return thing. Do not just jump in the meeting shouting what number you think is the right number. I understand what their previous experience has been, what excites them, what kind of returns they've been seeing in the past on their money, and just position your opportunity just a bit higher than that, if you can. Obviously, they're seeing like 15%, 20%. It's like you can hear that and say, hey, look, I appreciate you seeing 15%, but unfortunately, that's not something I offer. If you were to work with me, and investors that work with me, generally speaking, are kind of within the 10% range, up to 10% range with money investors. So if that's something that obviously excites you and maybe wants to kind of come on board, something like that, then amazing, let's talk about how that can work. And if it's not, I get it, like, I appreciate this is not for everyone, but I want to work with people that maybe want to give this a go and see how this works. Maybe see as another vehicle to be able to grow their money as well, to kind of diversify where their monies are being placed. So come around full circle, obviously, like I said, the art of the beginning, the art of pitching, in my opinion, is actually not to pitch an investor. It's to find out what the investor has done in the past, what excites them, what needs and wants they have, and try and position your opportunity to be an opportunity that they say yes to by knowing what they want on the front end. And that's my message here. If you do that one thing, you'll see a much, much better conversion rate. And again, I would love to know if you guys agree, disagree in the comments. Let me know what you think on this. But again, like I said, this is what's been proven to work for myself and my students. I have raised £3 million myself, and my students have raised millions combined on the back of my teachings as well. So I know for sure it works, and it's a process you just have to follow. And if you do these things, build a personal brand, go into the meeting with understanding their needs and their wants before positioning your opportunity, you're going to see a much better conversion rate from people you speak to. So I hope you guys got some value from this, and I will see you in the next video, guys. Take care.